Hello and a pleasant good morning to you. Coming from the sports betting capital of the world, Las Vegas, this is Ramon Scott, and welcome to the college football preview show here on NukeTheHouse.com. I'm Ramon Scott, and happy to be joining you with you here on the Nuke the House channel. For those of you who haven't seen me out there, hey, I'm over from the Sports Money Network, but I'm going to be here all season long on the Nuke the House channel, talking college football's biggest games right up to kickoff, just like we are today on our short but sweet card here in week zero. Getting started off here with our big game coming up in just a few minutes with Iowa State and Kansas State from Dublin, Ireland. So we're getting ready for the action here this morning, and going to be a good card. Going to look at the big games here, and we'll take a look at a few of the other games as well, and keep you updated on what's yet to come in college football this season. We'll go over the lines, make some picks and previews as well here on the Nuke the House channel. So we know we've got a nice little card here just getting underway at the top of the hour. Remember, they're coming to us from Dublin, Ireland. In this big game, in this Big 12 game here with Iowa State and Kansas State. So it should be a good one. Also, we'll preview the game between Fresno State and Kansas, Sam Houston and Western Kentucky, Stanford and Hawaii. In fact, Stanford and Hawaii will talk a little bit about that game, but that was my first pick officially here on the Nuke the House channel. I'm going to be bringing you some picks this season under the Nuke the House banner, so you can check them out under the tab, where you get the tracked plays. You'll see my plays in there, also be under the daily picks there. So let's keep one or two behind the paywall here each week, or maybe a few more as well. We get going during the regular season, but I'll have some exclusive plays, some premium plays, if you will, here on Nuke the House. Of course, we'll give a few plays here out on the air, and I've got one for you here today. I'll be our exclusive video play, I think we'll call it here, and maybe a free play or two as well on a couple of the games, and maybe we'll touch also again on some of those games that didn't make it to the big board, but on today's short schedule. And hey, one of my specialties is kind of the FCS games. I think what we'll do here during the season is get a chance to touch on some of those FCS games, because right up until kickoff here, that's when all the action's flying fast and furious in the FCS when you get down to the regular season. But what we'll do is we'll preview every Saturday right here at 11:30 Eastern and 8:30 a.m. Pacific. We'll go over the biggest games every week right up until the big noon kickoff, if you know what I mean. We'll lead right into it. Hey, you know what? They might even kick it off, and we might be still talking a little college football on those later games. But we'll make sure you get you all set and ready for those early games, the noon kickoff, if you know what I mean. Then we'll move into a few other games. Hey, let me hear from you in the comments here today on the Nuke the House channel. Thank you, Jimmy, for joining me over here. We had a fun time last night on some of the other channels. Hey, everyone, it's football season, so don't miss one single college or NFL bet from the Nuke the House sports betting team. Our team of bettors was up over 128 units last season in the NFL alone. So we live bet every game during the NFL season. So you can get our picks here on the Nuke the House channel. That's what you want to do, is be a subscriber here, sign up for our live betting shows and for our notifications that come right to your mobile device via the Discord. I get them right here on my phone as well. So I'll be posting my college football plays all season long for the Nuke the House sports betting team. Visit nukethehouse.com and sign up for any of our plans. You won't be charged unless you want to be. So use the code Nuke the House. That's one word, Nuke the House, probably all caps, it says there. So Nuke the House for one free week at nukethehouse.com. Come join the winners here with the crew, with Keg and the crew. I've been running here with the I say the Nuke the House crew, but I've been running with this crew since, I don't know, probably before back in the pandemic. We were running shows before we were running shows on StreamYard, or no, back then I think we were hanging out in Google Hangouts. So we were chat. We had shows right here, not on Nuke the House back then, but some previous iterations of the card. All right, we're gonna get started. I mean, we only got 20 minutes, but we could kind of take it easy too with our short card today. But let's get into it, shall we? And talk some of the matchups here today, including Iowa State taking on Kansas State here to start us off on the Nuke the House show. Why not? And a big one here to get it started. The game to be played in Dublin, Ireland. Iowa State was 11-3 last season. They made it to the Big 12 title game where they fell to Arizona State. Remember, 13 starters returned for Matt Campbell. He enters the year with 10. Year 10 here now. Man, it's hard to believe. 13 starters, including Rocco Beck at quarterback. His top 2 running backs return as well, and got transfers really out of the receiver positions. Cyclones finished second in the nation, holding opposing quarterbacks to 52.5%. Last season, Kansas State went 9-4 in 2024, returning 10 starters, including, of course, Avery Johnson. And we know this guy can do it with his legs and his feet. Last year, last meeting between these two, Johnson completed 43%, but it was a 29-21 defeat. So Cyclones have won 4 of the last 5 against the Wildcats and covered 6 of their past 8 head-to-head games. I think that's kind of the key, some of the key numbers here with these two teams. Kansas State's failed to cover some of these grass turf games. Of course, Wildcats have to be concerned about their pass defense coming into this one. Now, the total here coming in is 51.5. It opened at 49 or so. So, look, we've seen this one rise here about 2 points so far. So, hey, I want to hear from you guys in the chat as well, and let me know what you guys are on here today. And love to hear from some of you and with some of your comments in the chat as well. I love to interact with the chat. So, all right, we'll see here in this one with Iowa State and Kansas State. It's not just another Big 12 opener. I mean, right? I mean, this is a rivalry game here for sure. So. Iowa State did win 4 of their last 5. Last season made a nice little run there. Both teams are pretty solid offensively a year ago, averaging over 30 points. So you might think it'd go over today, but we've seen these games over in, I'll say in overseas when we've had the college games. It seems like they get off to slow starts, and I don't know, with 2 familiar opponents like Iowa State and Kansas State, I don't know. To me, it feels like there might be a little bit of a grind early in this game that could suppress the scoring later on, is what it feels like. For Iowa State, their offense averaged 416 yards per game, 250 through the air. And, with Beck 25 touchdowns last season, Carson Hansen was pretty solid too. So, definitely Iowa State struggled early in the season. They've always kind of had maybe not the best of starts, especially covering some numbers early in the season. But man, they sure were solid down the stretch, weren't they? Especially that crazy game against that crazy bowl game win against Miami. But they also won this one 29-21. They beat Utah late. They beat Cincinnati late. Kansas State, they were kind of the opposite towards the end of the season last year, beating Rutgers in the bowl game, but only after dropping 3 of their last 4 in the regular season, including that championship game against the Cyclones. I think I called it the bowl game earlier, but you know what I mean. The championship game, 29-21. Certainly there. So Avery Johnson, he can do it all with his arm and with his legs. Between him and Dylan Edwards out of the backfield, Jace Brown in receiving. Iowa State struggle, Kansas State struggled a little bit against the number 1-5 in their last 6, and had some issues down the stretch for sure. But still pretty 2 good arms here with Beck and Johnson. Uh, Beck's passing game probably a little bit more consistent than Johnson's, but uh, Iowa State certainly a reliable air attack. I wonder if Kansas State does have some struggles again with these numbers, laying points. It's going to be a good game, man, for sure. With these two, I think the neutral field does throw a little bit of a wild card into it here. So let's see what if you guys have anything in this one. And
Final.
I think the weather, they said right now, the temperatures right now around high 60s, light winds, no rain expected here. So no edge necessarily. The game should finish pretty clean. So I don't know. I know these teams averaged some big points last year, but I want to go under in this game as my pick here on the show if I can. I don't think it makes my official card, but I might go as a free play here if you don't mind with Iowa State and Kansas State to go under. It's up to, like I said, 51.5. And for me, I just feel like we'll see a slow start. I think we could see maybe just a score. Maybe it could get to 10 in the first quarter, but I don't know. There's obviously the potential for some big plays, but both these quarterbacks are more capable of scoring drives. It seems like there's some inconsistency certainly on defense with some of these two, and I don't know. It does feel like the over might be a little bit public-y, if you know what I mean. But I want to take the under here in this one with Iowa State and Kansas State here today, just as a free play. I think here on the show to get us started. So this seems like a real doozy, of course, because of the overseas factor here, and just a real treat to get the season started with a conference game like this early in the season for these two, right? Feels like a big, important game as well. So be able to check that one out. And look, obviously it's the ESPN nationally televised game here to get things started this season. So get ready for this one, top of the hour from Dublin, Ireland here today with Iowa State and Kansas State. I think it gets us off to a good start. You can find some 52s out there as well, but I'm going to take the under as my play here to get us started on the Nuke the House college football show. Glad to be with you. Hey, I'd love to see the views here as well. My name is Ramon Scott, and welcome to the show. I'll be here every week previewing the games right until kickoff. Probably throw that in a few times here with our light card. So those of you seeing me for the first time, I made some appearances here for sure on the Nuke the House channel. We appeared here all season with Holden Kushner on the NFL preview show. We're going to do that again this year, right up until kickoff on Sundays as well, that last half hour of action. So, all right, let's keep it moving though. Right now, we got 3 more games to look at, and then I'll maybe preview or maybe give out some. We'll see. We've got these other games as well today on the card, including just to mention Idaho State and UNLV. Man, a real burner of a game there with Idaho State and UNLV, and it went all the way up to 29.5. Actually, it went up to 31 for UNLV after opening as low as 24.5. I think we'll have time for a preview in that one. Also, Tarleton State and Portland State. I think these are the games you're going to want to look out for today on the card. These are the ones you really are looking to bet. Of course, the 4 big games I think have caught everybody's eye, but there's also Mercer and UC Davis, NC Central and Southern also in a featured game from Atlanta there with a little bit of HBCU action. Okay, next up. Let's take a look at this one here now with Fresno State and Kansas here in week 1 as both Fresno State and Kansas kick off the season, but coming in with some different momentum for sure from last year. Fresno, they stumbled down the stretch, losing 4 of their last 5, while Kansas did cover in 5 of their last 6 and showed what we've been. Kansas had some real big momentum over the last couple of years. It got slowed there a little bit for sure, but maybe they're back here a little bit now, showing some conference progress. It isn't a rivalry game or anything like that. In fact, Fresno has its own set of issues, but when you got Mountain West or Pac-12, whatever it's going to be in the future or this year anyway, Fresno State making a little bit of a jump here, but doesn't still a measuring stick. It feels like for both teams. So already been some line movement here in this one with Kansas up to a 14-point favorite. They probably opened just 13 and a half or so. The total here has dropped from 52 to 50 so far with these two. For Fresno State, they did finish just 1-4 in their last 5 games with that lone win coming against Colorado State, 28-22, but late season losses, including Hawaii Air Force, Colorado State, and then they played Northern Illinois in their bowl game there and lost 28-20. Uh, Bulldogs last season, they were all pass and no, all bark and no bite, maybe, but all pass and no run. It felt like barely averaging 100 yards rushing a game. So it made them a little bit too predictable, especially against the Bruins last year, where they just couldn't get the offense going against a better team. And Air Force just outgun them or outgained them, I should say. So Gilliam was the lead back, but averaged under 4 yards per carry. And you got Anderson, kind of a threat offensively at tight end, but the team just struggled to get big plays on the ground. So with Jaden Mandel at quarterback, they do face a little bit of an uphill battle, especially going up against a Power 5 front, is what it feels like here, at least with Kansas. They were pretty competitive, certainly late in the season, beat Colorado and BYU outright as small underdogs, and lost to Kansas State by just a couple of points in that thriller. Remember, 29-27 last season. The Jayhawks, they do rely on the run game a little bit, finishing last season averaging over 200 yards. Highshaw and of course Daniels return healthy, so he can do it a couple of ways. And of course, Lawrence Arnold gives them a pretty strong deep threat. So it's a good balanced offense. Teams come in pretty healthy here, and I think Mandel is interesting here to step in for Fresno State. Look, I think Fresno State, they've got a real strong coaching coming in here, it feels like to me, to kind of step up this program a little bit. Maybe that's where they were missing a little bit. Not to judge too much, but it's still going to be a learning curve a little bit for Mandel and Fresno State. But with their consistent schemes and the way they do things, they'll probably keep it pretty conservative here right away. I would think short throws, quick throws, and lean on Gilliam in those short yardage situations, but they don't really have the explosiveness. So they could sputter against a team here like Kansas. But to me, I think Fresno's a team that kind of is going to be a little bit of a sleeper. And I know Kansas has that Power 5 school next to their name, but Fresno, they're a great program, man, and for their level. I mean, it's always been kind of a thing, if you know what I mean, at in the Valley and at Fresno. So you got Jalen Daniels though for Kansas, man, a proven starter, dual threat, and when he's healthy, man, he's one of the best in the country. Threw for over 2,400 yards last season, over 8 yards per attempt. His accuracy could be worked on, but I think that comes with age, with sage, and repetitiveness here, getting more older and mature. So can make some turnovers, no doubt about it, but he's a playmaker downfield that maybe Fresno just doesn't have. He's also mobile enough to extend drives and use his legs, of course, and that's something Fresno kind of has trouble with when the quarterback gets moving. So Kansas definitely will have an edge here, 2-touchdown favorite, and Fresno did give it up to a attack like Air Force, although we know that's a little bit different of a running attack. If you know what I mean. So Kansas 9-4 straight up in their last 13 at home. Fresno just 2-6 on the road in their last 8. So I'm going to end up with a free play, I think, on this one. Right now, it looks like the market kind of favors Fresno with that move, but man, Kansas's depth and balance are hard to ignore for sure. So all right, I'll make a play here in this one. And, Fresno State, they've always covered against Big 12 opponents, 5 straight covers against the Big 12. And, Kansas, they certainly are, I want to say the strongest, of course, we know in the Big 12, but still a Big 12 team. And they've actually struggled early on this season. Now, Kansas was covering numbers last season, but Kansas has trouble covering in August games, getting off to a good start. So warm temperatures here for sure in the upper 80s, light winds, and so yeah, maybe some good scoring conditions here, if you know what I mean. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Fresno State to hang in there. I'm kind of maybe a Mountain West honk a little bit here. I understand, man. I love Jalen Daniels, and I'm sure you guys do too. But I'm going to try Fresno State here in this one. I love that ATS history against the Big 12, and I'm going to go ahead and take Fresno State plus the points. I feel like I'm on an island a little bit here, but that's a free play on the show here. All right. I want to say hello to some friends in the chat. Jermaine is here today. He's like in Kansas State -3. Thank you for finding me over here on the Nuke the House channel. All right. Hey, let's run it one more time and see what we got here next. All right. Here comes my official show play here right now as Sam Houston State is going to take on Western Kentucky. Here in this one, the Bearcats taking on the Hilltoppers. Hey, it seems like the Bearcats have been around D1 forever, but remember, it was only recently that they made the graduation up here, but they're a great program. You know that. Sam Houston, they finished 5-1 straight up last season to close out 2024. Western Kentucky lost that bowl game, remember, to James Madison. So, hey, nothing like having a little conference game right out of the gate. You better be ready. You don't want to lose here. Look at the odds makers here. I've already pushed this line from 7 here. Let me get the move here in this one. Open maybe as low as 7.5 up to 10.5 here in this one with Western Kentucky. Hey, we know the kind of passing attack that Western Kentucky brings every year, right? That's what they're known for. But also, Western Kentucky has a little bit of defensive prowess, if you will, especially in conference play. So maybe this little bit of a dip in the total makes sense here in this one. But let's take a look because, Sam's going to be running the ball for sure in this one. And now that's kind of what I like, if you know what I mean here, even though it could get a little bit loose here, especially with this high total. So Sam Houston finished strong last year, winning 5 of their last 6. They beat Georgia Southern 31-26. Hunter Watson had a big year with 1,800 yards and last year, but got sacked quite a bit, and the receivers kind of didn't get as many touches as you might like. Quavez Humphreys had the team-leading 20 receptions, so the Bearcats did go under in 6 of their last 7 games because they're a grinded-out style coming in. Western Kentucky was a little bit shakier down the stretch last season, losing to JMU 27-17. They fell to Liberty, but they beat Jacksonville State in that 1917 game, and their defense kind of keeps it going under too. So maybe the points here will be going, but man, that's a lot for two teams that kind of play like this. It feels like now TJ Finley hasn't put up the big numbers yet in this system, limited action, but we'll see. Western Kentucky has kind of dominated so far in Conference USA, 13-2 straight up in the last 15 conference games. So Watson here for Sam Houston. He's a steady but starter with maybe some limitations, despite 1,800 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions last year. But he gets sacked a lot, man, and that kills drives, of course. So he's efficient, but they just don't stretch the offense very much. Still, I'm kind of a Sam Houston guy for sure. And, if they keep it kind of low here, I'm not saying it's going to be all the way under. It very well will approach that big total there. But for me, I just like the situation here with Sam Houston. I think they're a team that can stay in this game against the Hilltoppers here. I think this is a great program that still needs to grow a little bit at the Division I level, it feels like to me. But okay, let me know what you guys are doing in this one with Sam Houston going up against Western Kentucky. I figure they stay in this game here. I don't know if I'm ready to challenge that total, but give me Sam Houston here in this one. All right, we're leading right up to kickoff here. Sam Houston, by the way, that's going to be an official play for me here on Nuke the House. So I'll put it in the this game goes off at, let me get that right here, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. This is going to be an official Nuke the House play for me. I'm taking Sam Houston here, and I'll put it up there in the Discord as well as on my sheet. I got to get the terminology right here. My tracked picks here. So, gonna come up with the next one here real quick. We're just gonna spend a couple minutes on this last game because I've already issued a pick on this one. I'm kind of getting the lay of the land here on Nuke the House, and I put this one in the Discord earlier this week as my early release play, as I jumped over here to be a part of the team for college football. You get my college football, some of my college football picks exclusively here on the Nuke the House channel. So you're gonna want to catch me here every Saturday here at 11:30 Eastern and 8:30 Pacific, right up until kickoff, just like we are right now. We'll run a little bit over every day, noon, until probably all those games get going. I just can't handle it anymore, and we got to go watch the games, just like we're going to have to right now with Iowa State and Kansas State. But they're not kicking it off right at the top of the hour. So let's get into this one a little bit with Stanford and Houston here. Let me calm down the computer over here, giving us all the finals coming in from the European soccer leagues. All right, here we go with our last game here between Stanford and Hawaii. For Timmy Chang and the Hawaii Rainbows, they're getting things moving. You don't want to see them have to give up on Timmy Chang as head coach, the Hawaii quarterbacking legend here. He's in his fourth year here right now, and look, the time is now here for third year. Time is now here for Timmy Chang. It feels like they're getting things together in Hawaii. They're gonna give a stadium soon, probably play in that little high school stadium. Getting tired of that already. And hey, when you got to bring the glory days back of Hawaii football, it feels like now Stanford has a bizarre situation. First of all, I think Stanford puts themselves in a real bind with the move to the ACC. I know we know that with Stanford and Cal. It's just awkward, but maybe a little more so with Stanford than Cal, right? Because in Stanford, I mean, how can your fan base get excited with teams like, Virginia or Florida State or Clemson, even the good teams coming in when you could really be playing UCLA or Arizona or Oregon? I guess you can't anymore with the conference alignment. And I think that hurts in the long run, especially a team like Stanford that isn't. Now, hey, if this were any other sport, take Stanford. I mean, golf, gymnastics, water polo, any collegiate sport, take Stanford. But right now, with the bringing in Frank Reich here, I'm sure it'll work out. I'm sure Frank Reich will be a fine coach for Andrew Luck's program moving forward. But I just don't feel the momentum right now with this team. And although they're probably outclassing Hawaii a little bit here, you know what? Trip to the islands to open the season. You're Stanford. You're not very good. You struggled last year for sure. That feels like Hawaii can do this. I have Hawaii as my official Nuke the House play to get us started here this season. It was already released there, and we took Hawaii. So for the subscribers, we'll just say it here right now. And but there'll be plays also that you won't have maybe on the show that'll be behind the paywall. So you're going to want to get the plays. Kickoff's about to occur here in the next couple of minutes, so we're going to wrap up the show, and I just want to let everyone know that you can get the plays from me here. But let me just give a little bit more info. I think we got time. I'm just observing the game here and want to make sure that we don't miss any of it. But Stanford, they had a 1-8 season, or 1-8 close to the season, winless on the road last year. I know Hawaii wasn't much better in terms of wins and losses, but hey, Hawaii did cover 4 of their last 5 down the stretch. So look, the line completely flipped, and I think that was sharp action. I think most observers agree that it was sharp action that moved Hawaii to the 2.5-point favorite after Stanford opened the 2-point favorite here. So Frank Reich got his work cut out for him. Andrew Luck brings him in kind of on late notice there. They struggled against tougher teams. Now, Hawaii doesn't qualify for that, but still, they don't run the ball terrifically. They could run the ball much, much better. They should have the size up front to get it done, and they are missing Pantelis, wide receiver, to start things off. But look, they had those close games late, and maybe this will be close, but I've got to take Hawaii here. They had some fight against Mountain West competition, and I know Stanford qualifies there in the Power 5, but they're one of the worst teams in the country that right now to open the season. So Hawaii also covered a bunch of numbers at home last year, 5-0-1 against the spread. Why would you, it's a trip out to the islands for sure, right? So, all right. For Stanford here with Elijah Brown, just limited action last year, and maybe a little bit tough on him here, actually, is they'll probably have to rely on him if they don't get the run game together. And if he makes any turnovers, watch out. Hawaii, I just remember the glory days of some of Hawaii football. They'd play those late games. You'd bring in these bigger teams, from the mainland, and they'd be left with their heads spinning by the time they left, going up against guys like Timmy Chang, right? Wisconsin come in there. They could get beat on any moment. BYU could come in there. They could get beat on any given Stanford game back at the old Hawaii Stadium. But, if anything, it might be a little bit of a more interesting home crowd with this little stadium. So I'm going to go with Hawaii here in this one. They've got Braden Shager. And, of course, he's more like Timmy Chang, right? Over 2,500 yards, 19 touchdowns last year. He can move the ball downfield for sure. He's got the long ball attack as well. Protection is the issue, and against a bigger team like Stanford, I'll just say it, that could be a little, they got sacked like 40 times last year, and you can't have that. Just maybe Stanford is enough of a step down that Hawaii, they'll have an improved offensive line this season, supposedly. So as long as Shager can open up his passing attack, Stanford gave up big-time points for sure. It's just you're trying to judge the level of competition here and the trip to Hawaii to open the season. Hey, sounds like a great place to take a trip for the opening game of the season, but if you're not that good, I'm going to take Hawaii here. They're healthy in this one, and Stanford gave up plenty of points in this one. And maybe it could be a wild one. The total is 50. here in this one. So Stanford definitely losing down the stretch. They couldn't win on the road at all, and warm temperatures in the 80s here in this one. So it's going to be basically Stanford's offensive questions and their road struggles, not winning at home. Give me the rainbows here in this one. All right, so that's just a little sample of what you'll get here during the season with Nuke the House. It's football season here. Don't miss our coverage. One single college or NFL bet from the Nuke the House team. Of course, our team of bettors was up over 128 units last season in the NFL. We live bet the games here on the Nuke the House channel. You get it with Keg and the crew, especially on NFL primetime games here when you got the guys joining you. And of course, they're notable NASCAR coverage and UFC coverage. Man, I feel I was up all night watching UFC. I'm lucky I made it to this show, but I was glad to be here with you here on the Nuke the House channel. Thank you to the folks that tuned into this first episode here. We're getting ready for the coin toss here from Dublin, Ireland right now with Kansas State and Iowa State to kick us off. Remember, my free play in the game here is on the under here in this one. Maybe just a little bit of a recap here on the Nuke the House channel. Free plays there with the under there. Also took Fresno State and also Sam Houston there as our official play, as our spreadsheet play there, if you will, and also late with Hawaii. And just one other game I want to look at. Actually, the line had moved here a little bit. Let me put this down to 29.5. I'm going to leave you with one more free play. Look, I'm in Las Vegas, and I know that this UNLV program is taking a big step over the last couple of years. But, Idaho State, they're still a pretty good program. They've, not like some of the teams, they're not the Montanas, the Montana States of the world, but man, they can compete a little bit with those. And I don't know if UNLV's totally stepped it up here to this next level. So one more free play as I leave you out here. Take Idaho State plus 29.5. They're ready to kick off. I'm ready to kick off. Let's get out to the games here. Thank you for joining me. We'll be back right here next Sunday on the Nuke the House channel as we get ready for this season, and then we'll join you for the NFL season with Holden there later on in the week. They're kicking off. I want to thank the guys for having me here, and kickoff for the 2025 college football season is underway, and I'll be with you here on Nuke the House. All right, for the Nuke the House gang, I'm Ramon Scott. Thank you for joining me.